We're going to make these lovely pom-poms, and also I'm going to show you how to make some beads from that shrapnel, all those crumbs of fabric. Lovely colourful things that you can use for a variety of projects. So hopefully it will get you thinking about how you can use unwanted fabrics in your home. So to make your yarn, I'm just going to briefly go over how to make the yarn. So first of all, you'll need to gather some material, and I recommend you gather woven fabric. So this is a quilt cover, an old quilt cover. You could use bed sheets, you could use shirts, pillowcases. Have a look around the home to see if you've got something that you can use. And then the first thing that we need to do is rip the fabric to make some yarn. So we're going to rip them in 1 centimetre width. So I've got my ruler here. And what you need to do is make a nick at about 1 centimetre with your scissors. And the beauty of woven fabric is it rips really easily. So you need to rip 1 centimetre width strips. Until you've got quite a few. And then when you've ripped your strips of fabric, when you've got lots of them, I've got 3 here at the minute, but you need a lot more, you'll notice that, can you see these little fibres of fabric coming away from your strip? So what you need to do is just rub your hand all the way down and just remove those little excess fibres. Keep hold of the bits though, because we can make good use of those. These are just the warp threads coming off here. And then what we need to do is make a hole at each end of our strip that we've ripped off our fabric. So what I've got here is 2 strips of fabric, and I'm going to lay one on top of the other. And then I'm going to fold the top down just a little way. And then with my scissors, I'm just going to cut a little slit, open it. Can you see there's a hole? So I've got 2 strands here, both with a hole. And what I'm going to do is lay one strand over towards my left and the other strand towards the right. Lay one on top of the other, so that the hole, they both line up with each other. And then this one that's on top here is going towards the right. I'm going to find the end. Here's the end here. I'm going to push it underneath and pull all the way through. And what that does, it interlocks the strands. The great thing about this is it's less bulky than it would be if you made a knot. So what you do next is you move along to the end of one of the strands, get your next strand, lay the end of one strand that we've just been linked together, lay your new strand on top, fold it over, get your scissors, cut a nick, open it, and then what we do is we turn it so we've got one strand in one direction and another strand in the other, that on top of the other to line the holes up. Find the end of the new strand, the one that's sitting on top, push that underneath, pull it through, and that interlocks it. So what you need to do then is start winding your fabric into a ball as it gets longer. So what you need to do is carry on doing this until you have a ball of yarn that can fit into the palm of your hand, so a fist size or a double fist size, about that size. So the next thing we're going to do is make a template for our pom-pom. And what you'll need is some cardboard and something round to draw around. So if you wanted a pom-pom this size, for example, can you see roughly that cardboard is the size of the pom-pom? So if you want a bigger one, you would find something bigger to draw around, or a smaller one, something smaller. And what you need to do is cut 4 pieces of card. And then the next thing we're going to do is find the centre in 2 of them. If you're not confident about doing that freehand, so you know, I could go straight in and say, that's about the centre. If you're not confident with that, cut a little bit of paper, fold it in half, and then fold it into 1/4. Then put that at the edge of your template, and where that little point is the centre. I wasn't that far off actually. Or I was far, I was. Can you see the dot that way? So that helps you find the centre of your template. And then what you need to do is draw a circle either freehand, or I'm going to use a 10p piece. Roughly put that over the top of your dot, draw all the way around. And that centre hole there needs to be about 1/3 smaller than the outer edge. Okay, so it's about 1/3 smaller. And then I'm going to cut a slit all the way through the centre of that up to that back edge there, and then a couple of little slits that way and that way, and then with my scissors cut all the way around. So the diameter of this one is 8 centimetres, and the centre is about 2.5. So this time I can use the one that I've just cut out as my template. So we need to have 2 that have holes in the centre and 2 that don't. Okay, so what we're left with is 2 with holes in and a slit, and then 2 without, and I'll explain why we need 2 without in a bit. So the next thing we need to do is just put all those over there. We get our yarn. So what I'm doing, can you see I'm just bending that out the way a little bit? I'm going to start with that strand up at the top, making sure that the top and the bottom are lined up, and then I'm just going to wrap that around and around so that the strands are pointing to the middle. I'm going to have to take my glasses off for this bit. So we keep going round and round until we get to the other side. I'm going to bend that side down so I can get it that side. I'm going to concentrate a little bit around this edge, but being careful that I don't go off the edge of the template. So I've gone round about 3 times. So can you see now we can't see the hole in the middle anymore? So in the next thing we're going to do is start cutting this off our template. So I'm just going to cut that there. And then just going to turn it upright, and you can just see where that cardboard's hidden, and I'm just teasing them apart a little bit. I'm going to pop my scissors inside and start cutting all these strands. Now this will be much harder than if you was using, say for example, wool. And I've just got one there where the interlocked bit was, so that was a little bit tough to get through. But you can use, like, can you see there in between, you can push your scissors down inside and use that to get right up and snip all the way around. And because we tightly wound it, it's held in position. You can already see it's happening. So I'm going to get a strand of this. You can have this as shorter as long as you like. You can have it longer than what I do it. Cut a long piece of fabric, that's about 1/2 metre. And then what we're going to do is tease apart those two sides and put this inside, wrap it around, and then tie this in a knot. So what that's doing now is it's holding all of the fibres together. So where we've wrapped round, we've now cut it and made them into single threads that go backwards and forwards. So I'm tying them together around the middle, tie that in a knot. And once they're firmly in place, we can then release these cardboard templates. And already we've got a lovely fluffy pom-pom. It's a little bit lopsided. Can you see? There's a little bit, it's almost like an oval shape. So this is where these two extra circles come in handy. So what you can do is lay your pom-pom on top of one and one in, so it's like a sandwich. And can you see there's a little bit of an edge here and a little bit of an edge there. And I've got my big scissors. And all I'm going to do is just even that out a little bit. Be careful you don't cut your strands that are coming out that are holding the middle together. It won't be a disaster if you did cut them. It wouldn't come undone because it's the bit that's around the middle that you don't want to cut. And then I would do it the opposite way as well. So what you can do is just wrap those so they're tucked inside. Put your cardboard on top. You can just see slightly over, not quite round. There we go. I'd say that's done now. Give it a little bit of a tussle. Oh, I've got a perfect pom-pom. How lovely is that? It's magic. Sometimes I can just see a little bit there. I just want to trim, but don't trim it too much because it might make it go too small or too lopsided. But essentially, that's all there is to it. So these pom-poms here, so we've got these lovely pieces hanging down from them, so you can do all sorts with them. You can tie them together and make a nice decoration. I think that would look lovely. Like people were saying, they've got Christmas colours, so you could have lots of them tied up in a row to make almost like a bunting type decoration. You could hang them off a Christmas tree. You could put them on your shoes. You could wear them. Wrap them around presents. I think that's a lovely idea, having one of those on your present. Ends of scarves. You can make a scarf and have a lovely fabric pom-pom on the end. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to make these little fabric balls from the scraps or the shrapnel. So you can see some of the the crumbs of fabric here that we've just had from those pom-poms we've been making. And eventually, over time, if you do lots of projects, your stash will build up. So you've got a big pot of things like this. So all you need to do is just pull out a little bit of fabric and then wrap it around, or roll it around, sorry, not wrap it around, roll it around to make it almost like a little ball shape. And then I'm going to look at that and just see what colours I've got here. And I've got lots of different coloured threads here. So all we do with this cotton, and you can use string or you could use embroidery thread if you wanted to, you don't have to use cotton. I just happen to have lots of cotton. So I'm just going to get the end of the cotton, put it into the middle of that ball, and just literally start wrapping around and around. And as I'm wrapping it around, I'm also sort of manipulating it into a ball shape. Can you see how that's sort of forming a really interesting sort of bundle of fabrics that could have been just chucked away? There's a little bit sticking up there, so I'm just going to bring the cotton over that and just pull it a little bit more firmly there. Same here, there's a little bit sticking up. And you can just keep going round and round as many times as you like until you're happy with the shape and the colours. You could use different coloured threads, lots of different coloured threads on this. And the more you wrap it, the tighter the bundle gets and the more bead-like it becomes. So now I've done enough wraps on there. What I'm going to do is just cut the thread, but I'm also going to thread a needle now just to secure this thread. I'm going to do a few stitches as well. So I'm just going to go in through into the middle of the ball just to do some random stitches around, just to make doubly sure everything's nice and secure. So I'm just doing a loop and going through the loop so it makes a knot, so that won't come undone. And then snip. There we have a little bead just made from little crumbs of fabric. It's rather marvellous really when you think about it. You can just make something like that from virtually nothing. And with these I've got quite a few here that I've been making. There's lots of possibilities, and again, come up with comments in the comment box if you can think of things you could make with them. But we could make some bracelets. So you could thread them on, stitch some elastic around them and have an elasticated bracelet, or put a button on or a fastener. You could make, if you made lots of them, you could make a necklace. To go, yeah, you'd have to go all the way around so you could lift it on your head, or if you don't have enough, you could make a braid with some of the strips of fabric and use that braid to make a necklace as well. You could use them to make light pools. Gosh, there's so many possibilities of things. That lady who's on the Bake Off, is it Prue? She likes big statement jewellery, doesn't she? So you could maybe make something like that could go on a necklace. The possibilities are endless really.